The hall of the Galactic Council was massive. Tall crystal pillars stretched from floor to ceiling, reflecting the dim lights that hung in the air like frozen stars. The council chambers were usually calm, orderly, and full of careful discussion. Alien delegates from countless star systems sat in carved seats, their eyes narrowed, their claws or tentacles resting politely. Every corner of the hall seemed alive with watchful scrutiny. At the center sat the alien Princess Velira, heir to the Thalorian Empire. She was known across the stars for her calm intelligence and unshakable demeanor. Her purple skin glimmered faintly, and her eyes, large and golden, missed nothing. Many had tried to impress her or intimidate her, but she had always remained indifferent. Nothing, she believed, could surprise her, and yet today something or someone would. The doors at the far end of the hall slid open with a hiss. Delegates whispered and leaned forward, expecting another alien envoy or diplomat. They were used to formalities, routine speeches, and polite arguments. No one expected the figure that walked in. A human stepped into the room. He was alone. His uniform was simple, not decorated with medals or titles. His posture was relaxed, yet firm. There was no trembling, no nervous glance, no desperate attempt to bow or flatter. His eyes were calm, sharp, and unafraid. The hall went silent. Even the hum of the hovering lights seemed to pause. The aliens had seen humans before in trade missions or small patrols, but never like this. He looked different, not weak, not naive. He looked like he belonged there, though they could not understand why. Princess Velira's gaze sharpened. She had read the reports. Humans were primitive, loud, and soft. They were not meant to survive in a galaxy that had seen countless civilizations rise and fall. Yet, here one stood. One human dared to step into the heart of the Thalorian Empire and remain steady. The human's voice broke the silence. "I am Captain Elias Dane of the United Earth Fleet. I come to speak." It was simple. No dramatic entrance, no grand speech, just words. Yet every word carried confidence and authority. The aliens murmured among themselves, some hiding smirks, others furrowing their brows. A human speaking here without fear. Preposterous. Princess Velira studied him. Something about his presence unsettled her. Not in a dangerous way, at least not immediately, but in a strange way that made her instincts tingle. Humans were unpredictable, unstructured, and yet somehow capable. "State your purpose," Velira said, her voice even and controlled. Elias lifted his head slightly. His brown eyes met hers without hesitation. "The galaxy faces a threat, one that no single empire can stop. I have come to offer aid and guidance." The princess blinked. Aid, guidance, from a human. Her advisors shifted nervously. Many of them had spent decades defending their systems, negotiating alliances and asserting dominance. And here came a human, claiming knowledge they did not have. "Your empire is strong," Elias continued, "but strength alone will not survive what is coming. You may think your fleets, your weapons, your alliances are enough, but they are not." The hall stirred. Alien murmurs grew louder. Some delegates scoffed openly. Others exchanged worried glances. Yet Princess Velira remained still, studying him closely. "What do you know of the threat?" one of the council members demanded. His voice was sharp, dripping with disdain. Elias smiled faintly. "I have seen worlds fall. I have watched civilizations collapse. I have fought in systems where death was certain. Humans survive because we learn, adapt, and endure. The same tactics that allow my people to survive may save your empire, if you are willing to listen." There was a pause. The aliens were not used to such honesty. Most would exaggerate their power or demand tribute. Humans spoke plainly. It was almost disrespectful, but also undeniable. Princess Velira's mind raced. She remembered the records she had studied, stories of humans surviving impossible conditions, of ships with inferior technology overcoming superior forces. It seemed impossible. Yet this human radiated the same confidence as those records promised. "You speak boldly," she said, her voice calm. "And yet you are alone. Why should we trust one human over centuries of alien experience?" Elias looked around the hall. His eyes paused on each alien not with fear but with quiet assurance. Because the galaxy is changing, threats will not follow your rules. They will not respect your history or hierarchy. You can choose to ignore it or you can prepare. I am offering the chance to prepare. Princess Valera felt something stir inside her, a spark of curiosity. For the first time, a human did not seem weak. He did not seem naive. He seemed necessary. "What is your proposal?" she asked, her tone measured. Elias straightened slightly. "I need your fleet, your intelligence, and your support, but not for conquest, not for politics, for survival. Together, we can study the threat, adapt, and create strategies that will protect all life in this sector of the galaxy." The hall was tense. Some delegates muttered about the audacity of a human commanding their attention. Others wondered if the princess had lost her mind, listening to this outsider. But Valera held her gaze on him. She could see clarity in his eyes, a purpose that was rare even among the most elite alien strategists. "You are asking us to trust a human," Valera said slowly. "To follow someone our people consider weak." Elias nodded. "I am asking you to think beyond what you believe. To see the galaxy not as it was, but as it will be. Humans survive because we see danger and act, not because we wait for it to come. I am offering that ability to you." There was a silence that lasted several heartbeats. Delegates whispered, claws tapped on chairs, eyes darted nervously. Princess Valera remained unmoved externally, but inside she felt a shift. The human's words had sparked something, a sense of possibility, a spark of hope. She rose from her seat, her robes flowing behind her. Every eye in the room followed. "Captain Elias Dane," she said, her voice steady, "you have my attention, but one mistake, one sign of arrogance, and this council will act against you. Do you understand?" "I understand," he replied, not with fear but with certainty. The princess studied him a moment longer. She had met many humans before, but never one like this. He was calm, smart, and unafraid. Perhaps, she thought, this was why humans had survived so long despite being underestimated. "I will allow you to speak," she continued. "Explain the threat. Convince this council why humans, your people, might hold the key to survival." Elias nodded and began his presentation. Holoscreens lit up, showing star maps, destroyed systems, and intelligence reports. He explained the movement of rogue fleets, unpredictable cosmic phenomena, and dangerous species that preyed on weaker civilizations. The aliens listened, some in disbelief, others in fear. The human spoke clearly, step by step, showing both the danger and potential solutions. He spoke of humans surviving through innovation, coordination, and courage. He shared tactics that relied on quick thinking, observation, and adaptation rather than sheer firepower. Princess Valera leaned forward. She could see the logic, the creativity, and the discipline behind his words, and she realized humans were not weak. They were different. They did not follow the same patterns as other species. They survived because they refused to be predictable. When Elias finished, the hall was quiet. Some aliens were visibly shaken. The princess, however, was calm. She had made a decision. She would not yet commit to fully trusting him, but she would give him the chance to prove humans were more than legends, more than stories of survival. And so, the council agreed to a preliminary alliance, one that many found shocking. As the human turned to leave the hall, he looked at Princess Valera. Their eyes met, and for a brief moment there was understanding. She had been surprised when he entered the room. She had been skeptical when he spoke. But now she realized something crucial. This human was not just a messenger. He was a sign, a signal that the galaxy's balance was about to change. That moment when he first stepped into the room had already become unforgettable. And the story of humans, of their courage, creativity, and endurance, was only beginning to unfold. Princess Velira sat back in her seat, thoughtful. Humans were not supposed to survive like this. And yet, here they were, standing tall, unafraid, and ready to act. The galaxy was about to learn a lesson it would never forget. The council chamber had quieted since Captain Elias Dane's words. Even now, hours after the meeting, the whispers of alien delegates filled the corridors of the Thalorian palace. Many were still skeptical of the human, some openly mocking him, others silently fearful. But Princess Velira remained unusually focused. She could not shake the feeling that this human was different, and that his arrival was no ordinary diplomatic mission. By nightfall, the council had dispersed to private meetings, yet the princess requested Elias remain in the palace. "We need more details," she told her aides. "The council has ears everywhere, but I want the truth, alone, if possible." Elias accepted without hesitation. His calm confidence remained, a stark contrast to the nervous murmurings of the alien staff. They led him through long corridors, glowing softly with light panels etched into the walls. Servants and guards gave him wary glances, but no one dared interrupt. Humans had a strange presence, quiet but impossible to ignore. Finally, they reached a private chamber. Unlike the grand hall, this room was simple. A large holomap table glowed at the center, empty but ready. The walls were lined with screens and data pads. Princess Velira took a seat at the head, motioning for Elias to stand beside the table. "Explain," she said simply. Elias activated the holomap. Stars shimmered and systems blinked like living nodes in a vast network. He pointed to a distant cluster. "The threat is here," he said. "These fleets and forces are not aligned with any council. They move unpredictably. They destroy planets, harvest resources, and leave nothing for survivors. Many empires believe they are isolated, but they are growing." Velira leaned forward. "Explain the human connection. Why have your people survived while others fell?" Elias' eyes narrowed slightly. "Humans survive because we think differently. Where other species rely on sheer numbers or technology alone, we rely on strategy, adaptation, and teamwork. We observe, learn, and exploit weaknesses. We take risks that others avoid because we value survival over pride." He tapped the holomap, and images of destroyed colonies flashed across the screens. Some were alien, some human, all evidence of chaos. When others fled, humans studied the enemy. When others hesitated, humans acted. We survived because we never assumed the rules of war or survival were fixed. Velira watched intently. She could see the logic, the patience, the years of experience compressed into his words. Humans were not reckless, they were precise in their unpredictability. "Show me proof," she demanded. Elias nodded. He activated another sequence. Hollow recordings filled the room. Battles, skirmishes, and encounters played out. A human ship, smaller and less armed than a massive alien cruiser, darted through debris fields, evading attacks and striking with exact precision. Another scene showed humans repairing a crippled vessel under fire, finishing the task in minutes that would have taken alien engineers hours. "Their tactics are remarkable," Velira said softly. "They survive because we refuse to be conventional," Elias explained. "We rely on creativity, intuition, and communication. And we do not fight for dominance alone, we fight to protect." The princess's mind raced. She remembered the council's laughter, the mocking of humans, the assumption that they were weak. Yet now, watching these records, she understood the truth. Humans were underestimated because their strength was not obvious. It was quiet, patient, and deadly effective. "You want us to join you," she said, "to trust humans over centuries of experience." Elias' gaze was steady. "I ask for your cooperation, not your worship. Together we can prepare for what is coming. Alone, your fleets and armies will be scattered and destroyed. Together we can survive and save countless lives." Velira considered him. "And if we refuse, then the galaxy will suffer. Many will die, empires will fall, and humans we will survive, but alone. without alliances, without diplomacy, without honor. His tone was calm, not arrogant, yet there was unmistakable weight behind the words. The princess was silent for a long moment. She could feel the truth in them. Humans were resilient, humans were clever, humans were unpredictable, and now, standing before her, one human carried all of that potential into the heart of her empire. "I will grant you one chance," she said finally, "one demonstration. If humans can prove they are more than stories, more than legends, then we may consider cooperation. Fail, and you will leave this palace immediately." Elias inclined his head. "Understood." The next day, the demonstration began. The Thalorian Empire selected a mock operation, designed to test human strategy against alien defenses. The target was a training field, heavily fortified with automated weapons, drones, and traps designed to challenge even elite alien soldiers. The council and the princess watched from an observation deck. The humans were few, just a small team led by Elias, but their movements were precise. Where alien squads relied on brute force and overwhelming numbers, the humans coordinated silently, communicating with gestures, signals, and concise words. Drones activated, firing energy beams. Alien guards moved to intercept. The humans dodged, feinted, and maneuvered around traps. One human engineer disabled a turret in seconds, using minimal energy, while another created a diversion that allowed the team to advance. The princess could not hide her astonishment. Every movement was calculated. Every action was effective. Where aliens struggled with coordination or overcomplicated strategies, humans adapted instantly, anticipating problems before they occurred. By the end of the exercise, the humans had completed their objective flawlessly. Not a single member was harmed. Not a single mechanism failed under their control. The room erupted in whispers. "Impossible," muttered one delegate. "No human could," another shook his head. "They are faster, smarter." Valera remained silent. She had predicted surprises, but this level of efficiency exceeded her expectations. She realized something important. Humans were not only survivors, they were innovators. Every weakness in the aliens' defense had been anticipated. Every trap countered. Every challenge turned into an advantage. Elias turned to her, his calm eyes meeting hers. "Do you see now?" he asked. "Yes," she said quietly. "Humans are different." But the council was not yet convinced. Some members argued that the exercise was artificial, that humans had prepared for it, that real war would reveal their limitations. Elias anticipated this. "Then let us test them further," he said. "Real conditions, real unpredictability, not simulations. We will use the techniques we have studied from your fleets, your patrols, and your defenses, and show how humans can adapt when nothing is fixed, when the enemy is unknown." Valera agreed. A real-world test was planned. Humans would operate in remote sectors of the empire, where dangerous anomalies and rogue factions were known to threaten trade routes. No preparation, no warning, pure adaptation and survival. Weeks later, reports began arriving. Human teams had traversed asteroid fields thought impassable. They had captured rogue ships without conflict, repairing them to aid local colonies. They had discovered hidden wormholes, avoided natural hazards, and negotiated with alien pirates who had never dealt with humans before. The princess read each report carefully. She could see the same patterns again and again. Humans analyzing quickly, improvising efficiently, and always protecting innocence when possible. Their reputation as unpredictable, even reckless, now carried a new meaning. They calculated risk with purpose. For the first time in her life, Valera felt something she rarely experienced: admiration for another species. Humans were not the simple, weak creatures her council had believed. They were resourceful, resilient, and above all, fearless in ways that even the most elite Thalorian soldiers were not. Yet she could sense a challenge. The galaxy would not wait. A threat loomed, larger than any single empire. And humans, with all their cleverness, were only beginning to reveal what they could do. The princess summoned Elias once more. "Your people are impressive," she said. "I can no longer dismiss humans as weak, but the real test is coming. If we are to survive, you must act not just with skill but with leadership. Can you guide empires as well as your own?" Elias' gaze was steady. "I can guide if we trust each other. The galaxy is too dangerous to rely on isolation. Strength alone is not enough. It is cooperation, understanding, and courage that will save us all." Valira nodded. "Then prepare. The council may resist, but I will stand with you for now. Your demonstration has begun to change their minds, but it is only the start." As Elias left the chamber, the princess watched him move through the corridors with quiet confidence. She realized something profound. Humans were not only strong and clever, they inspired change. Their presence challenged old assumptions, tested traditions, and made the impossible seem possible. And as the stars glittered outside the palace windows, Valira understood that the moment when Elias first entered her council hall was not just unforgettable, it was the beginning of a new era. The galaxy was about to learn a hard truth: humans were no ordinary species. They were innovators, survivors, and above all, a force that could reshape the universe itself. And Princess Valira, who had thought herself impossible to surprise, realized she had been wrong. Humans could surprise even her. The Thalorian Empire had witnessed many wars. It had survived countless crises, invasions, and betrayals. Yet nothing could prepare them for what arrived in the outer systems that day. Sensors blared across every station. Hollow displays flickered with unreadable data. Strange fleets, unlike anything catalogued in the archives, moved with terrifying speed. Ships appeared from the void, shadowing planets, cutting off escape routes, and destroying everything in their path. No one knew where they came from, no one knew their purpose, and no one knew if anyone could stop them. Princess Valira stood on the observation bridge of the capital's flagship. Her golden eyes scanned the holographic battlefield. The council was in panic, advisors shouting, generals arguing, and fleets readying for combat without clear strategy. Fear was contagious. She felt it in the air, thick and heavy. And then she remembered the human. Captain Elias Dane had warned her of this possibility. The rogue fleets were only the beginning. Only humans had the adaptability, creativity, and courage to respond in real time. The question was not whether humans could act, it was whether the council would trust them enough to let them try. Valira stepped forward. "Prepare the communication channels," she ordered. "I want every fleet to hear this human's instructions. We follow his strategy or we fall." The council erupted in protests. "Your Highness, we cannot. He is not of our species. He does not understand our fleets. He cannot." "Enough," Valira's voice rang out, cutting through their panic. "He has already proven himself. If we delay, we are lost. Trust him. Follow his orders." A tense silence followed. Some generals hesitated, but most, faced with imminent destruction, complied. The human would lead, or the galaxy would burn. Elias' presence on the command deck was calm, almost serene. He analyzed the situation like a chessboard, each enemy ship a moving piece. He did not panic, did not shout. He simply moved, giving clear instructions to human and alien crews alike. "Fleet Alpha," he said, pointing at a cluster of Thalorian cruisers, "form a barrier around the civilian transports. Keep them protected, no matter the cost. Fleet Beta, flank the enemy on Vector 7, distract their sensors, and hold them until the reinforcements arrive." Alien officers blinked. Many of them had never worked with humans, and now they had to take orders from one. Yet the clarity of his instructions left no room for doubt. They moved with precision. They coordinated like one living organism, blending human tactics with alien technology. The battle began. Energy beams tore through the void. Explosions lit up the blackness like fireworks of destruction. Rogue fleets moved faster than any maps had predicted, yet humans countered with ingenuity. One human engineer deployed drones that repaired crippled ships mid-battle. Another created temporary energy fields that redirected enemy fire, protecting entire squadrons. Princess Velira could hardly believe her eyes. Humans, with their inferior ships and weapons, moved with a precision and understanding that far surpassed the Council's most elite fleets. Where aliens relied on overwhelming firepower, humans relied on quick thinking, adaptation, and teamwork. Hours passed, and the tide of the battle slowly shifted. Rogue fleets had expected chaos and hesitation, but humans moved like shadows, striking where weaknesses appeared, repairing what was broken, and predicting enemy maneuvers with uncanny accuracy. At one point, an enemy flagship attempted a direct assault on the capital's planetary shield. Sensors showed imminent failure. Velira's heart raced. Then she saw Elia's act. Deploy the microdrones to shield Delta. Use the backup reactors to power the field. Now. The alien engineers hesitated. These were humans giving technical orders, orders that seemed impossible to execute in time. But the humans and a few quick-thinking Thalorian officers followed the instructions. The shield stabilized just seconds before impact. The flagship's attack struck empty space. Civilians on the planet below cheered, unaware of how close they had come to annihilation. Velira's respect deepened. Humans did not fear danger. They adapted to it. They turned impossible odds into victory. And more importantly, they saved lives when every instinct of the Council screamed to protect status, pride, or technology instead. The battle raged across multiple sectors. Fleets clashed, rogue ships exploded, and humans moved between operations like calm conductors guiding a chaotic orchestra. At one point, Elias noticed an alien colony under attack. A small fleet of rogue ships surrounded it, intending to harvest its energy reserves. "We cannot let them take that planet," he said firmly. "Send Fleet Gamma with me, human and alien teams together. We move fast and we move smart, cover each other, protect every civilian, no exceptions." The journey to the colony was treacherous. Rogue forces lay in wait, but humans anticipated each ambush. Using small, precise maneuvers, they neutralized enemy positions without unnecessary destruction. The alien soldiers who followed Elias were astonished. He moved like a tactician, a protector, and a leader all at once. When they reached the colony, humans coordinated evacuations, repaired damaged energy grids, and positioned defensive systems, all while under fire. Civilians, frightened and confused, saw their world saved not by brute force, but by calm intelligence, courage, and teamwork. Princess Velira watched through the holofeed. Her heart swelled. This human, this single captain, had done what the Council could not. He had turned fear into action, chaos into order, and the galaxy was taking notice. By the end of the day, rogue fleets had been pushed back. Many were destroyed, many retreated, and many more fled to unknown corners of space. Damage was done, but the losses were far less than they could have been if humans had not led. The Council was stunned. Generals who had doubted humans openly admitted their skill. Aliens who had mocked their presence now bowed in respect, and Princess Velira felt a rare sense of pride, not just in victory, but in understanding. She summoned Elias once more, this time to the palace balcony overlooking the capital. The city below glimmered with lights and relief. People cheered as news of the human-led defense spread. Ships that had seemed doomed now floated in safety. Life, fragile and beautiful, had been preserved. "You have done more than I imagined," Velira said quietly. "Not just saved lives, but changed the way my people think." Elias smiled faintly. "Humans survive, Princess. We endure, but we do not need glory. We do not need praise. We act because it is right, because it saves lives. That is our strength." Velira nodded. She realized something profound. Humans were not just capable of surviving, they inspired hope, courage, and cooperation. They turned despair into action. They proved that even the most unlikely species could lead, could teach, and could protect. And now, she said softly, the galaxy knows humans are not weak. They are extraordinary. Elia's eyes met hers. It took one moment for you to see it, he said. One moment to understand, but every action we take now will define the future. The princess smiled. That first moment when he had entered the council chamber had been shocking, unexpected, unforgettable, but it was only the beginning. As the stars shimmered above the capital, Valira understood that humans were no longer outsiders. They were partners, protectors, and pioneers. The galaxy had underestimated them for centuries, and that mistake had nearly cost countless lives. But now, thanks to humans, hope endured. And Princess Valira, who had thought herself impossible to surprise, realized something even more remarkable. Humans could inspire change, reshape empires, and leave a mark that would last across the stars. The memory of that unforgettable moment, when a single human entered the room and changed everything, would live in legend, across star systems, across species, across time. Because that was the day the galaxy learned a truth it could never ignore. Humans endure, humans adapt, humans survive, and humans are capable of greatness beyond imagination.